Dr. Nicki on the phone, but let me tell you a really quick fact that I actually just read this article. I'd love to share it on our social media because it's an actually disturbing amount of women that experience PTSD after a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
They say their symptoms are severe anxiety, depression, distress, and nearly a third of women say their symptoms impact their work life, and 40% say it impacts the relationship with friends and family. And I get that, like, more than you know, because to this day, they're people that I'm like, wow, like they don't care about me. And I know it's not that, but it is weird. Like you do change. You could not go through this and not change as a person.
Right.
You've been through a traumatic experience. Like, it's real. And it just shows that, like, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, PTSD it's real. And like, if you miscarry, it's something you could be experiencing and you don't even realize it. And like, until I sat with Dr. Walter, I didn't realize it. And, Dr. Walter, I'm not embarrassed. She gave me, some medication that's seasonal. I'm not supposed to be on it forever. And it's helped me. It helped me get my ass out the door, go to work,
right.
Laugh again,
right.
Not obsess again, So shout out to Dr. Walter because, like, again, I don't be afraid to ask for help, but let's talk to Dr. Nicki. Let's ask her, if she can give us any advice on how to handle this.
You guys, we have somebody really special on the phone right now. Celebrity therapist. She's worked with Millionaire Matchmaker, the Kardashians. She's a author of 2 different books. She has so much going on. She's willing to take time out to talk to us. We are so grateful to have her here. Dr. Nicki Monti, stucknomore.com. You guys have to listen to this. This is going to be a great segment for everybody. You guys are getting her for free. So listen up.
Yeah, an LA therapist.
LA therapist for free here in little old Jersey.
Okay, so we're not telling them that you're paying me a really...
We've just donated our entire life saving to get you here.
Doc, thank you so much for taking the time for this. We really, really appreciate it.
We're so fucked up and we need you so bad.
Yeah.
So this is awesome.
And that is my stock and trade.
Wonderful.
So what we've been talking about, which I talked to you about, is that I had a miscarriage earlier this year. And, I think the one thing that I found after going through this experience is that it's something that nobody really talks about. It's still taboo. And, we wanted advice for the friends, or even, like, do you have any advice for the husband of the woman who's miscarried?
Like ways to help that we're not helping
I
with.
felt like my husband and I, like, weren't connecting. Like, he wasn't understanding my grief on the level that I was, and it kind of was putting a
damper.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very hard for the guys to really get it because it's in your body. They haven't connected with the baby yet. So, there's a lot of elements, but whether someone's trying or not, and no matter what happens, there's several levels on which we react to these things. And I'd like to address several of them simultaneously, but I want to say to the deep psyche, and I know that this is kind of maybe not the place for this, but I am a depth therapist, and I think laughter also heals, and and grief heals, and trauma and drama well met actually heals. Wounding is our friend if we know how to work with it. But I know that people don't like to get too serious generally on the air. But I do want to say...
No, it's okay. This has been a serious episode.
It's been a whole fucking mess.
We've cried. We've already cried.
Well, I tell you, it's important to cry. And I think not enough people do cry about these things. They don't cry about their abortions. They don't cry about their miscarriages. They don't cry about loss of dreams of any kind.
Oh my God! I just got chills. Loss of dreams. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we're always mourning when we have a relationship that tanks, before we thought it should, or if we thought it never should, or it should never have really gotten started in the first place, but we haven't admitted that. But we're really, or the ending of a marriage or something like that, we're always in double jeopardying ourselves in a sense, because we're mourning the actual experience, or refusing to mourn as many people do, but the actual experience. But we're also mourning our dream of what the experience was going to mean to us.
Yeah, like everyone always puts a picture in their head of how it's going to go.
Yes.
And then when it's shattered,
That's right.
people, I think that's where the depression comes from. It's not the actual thing that's happening. It's what they expected to happen in the end.
Right. And let me say this about the word depression. It's an overused word. Actually, depression is the absence of feelings. It's the repression and pushing away of feelings.
Whoa.
What I always say about that is we depress our feelings, and then our feelings depress us.
Wow.
And so if you're crying, if you're looking it in the eye, if you're grieving it, you're sad, you're not depressed. Even if you're sitting around feeling that, you're not able to get up and get going, that's okay. But to be with it and embrace it rather than sort of to avoid it or eat your way out of it or drug your way out of it or eat your way out of it or whatever people do.
Oh my God, I've eaten my
not. Yeah, well, there's a little bit of that.
Oh my God.
And there really isn't enough you're right, there isn't enough conversation about this. And
I felt like I was scaring. I think a lot of my friends were freaked out because they didn't know. First of all, I don't think I'm an overly emotional person to begin with.
No, me and Jess are both very cold. So when you crack us and we do cry, people freak out.
Yeah, I definitely scared my friends. And, I just felt like a disconnect with so many of them. I felt, especially the ones who weren't mothers, I felt like they couldn't understand what I was going through. And it hurt me. I felt very alone.
Yeah. Did you, one of the reasons, of course, that people are told don't start talking about it for 3 months is because this is not an unusual experience.
Yeah.
It's a sad one, but not an unusual one. And if people didn't get you, there's several things I would say about that. One is that's because you don't generally allow yourself to be gotten, which the two of you just admitted.
Yeah, for sure.
So, poo on you.
Yeah, for sure. It's all us.
No,
we do it to ourselves.
We need you, Dr. Nicki, like in real life.
We need to do a whole separate show.
Yeah. She's like, we can't even cover you.
Vulnerability.
Yeah, for sure.
Vulnerability. Yeah, because vulnerability is really has more gifts than grabs. All right, so it's a great thing. But anyway, I'm excited, if you're not a person who generally cries, that you let yourself feel the depths of this feeling, because it must have really hit you at a very deep place, and it's important. And it's important because whenever we have a wound, right? This is a wound. Whenever we have a wound, an emotional or psychological or psychospiritual wound, it stands on the shoulders of a whole bunch of other wounds that we have had along the way that we haven't grieved either. So the volume of our response is because we plug into other stuff, basically. So it's a healthy thing that you did by letting yourself feel this. And I don't know why you felt like other people couldn't understand what you experienced.
I felt like in the beginning people were sympathetic, and then I felt like I want to cry again. I felt like everyone else moved on with their lives, and I was still grieving.
Yeah, sure, of course, and that is what happens. People do move on with their lives.
Yeah.
I have a friend who had a really great relationship with her father, which is not. I run across a lot of not that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Daddy issues.
She had a great relationship, and I knew her father very well, and I knew him for a million years, and he died 2 years ago, and she posted on Facebook 2 years today that Dad died. I miss him every day. And my answer to her was, how gorgeous that you could have a relationship that was so rich that you could miss him so entirely.
Yeah.
Wow. My sister-in-law is going to love that, because she needed to hear it in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she has a hard time with the loss of her father, and I feel like that's a different way to look at it, and she's going to love that so much.
It's that's the thing is, I've lost people dear to me, and there's a grace to it if we allow that to be true for us. And the same with this. And the thing that I I get and hear that people moved on, and you kind of wanted them to stand there with their arms around you, feeling your feelings as long as you got to feel them. And of course, that's not what happens. But on the other hand, what you can do for yourself is to say, what do I learn from this experience for myself? I mean, one thing is, my husband was quite ill last year, and boy, I tell you, it really separated the wheat from the chaff. I mean, who showed up and who didn't?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting.
People always say that. They're like, have a baby and see who your real friends are, because
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll be there for you no matter what. Oh, gee, it's really not convenient today. Well, wow.
Right.
But I'm impressed truly that you let yourself do this grieving, and I love that your tears came forward during this talk already, because it's important. It's important for people to hear that these tears are so rich inside of you. And probably, I bet, if you did that more in your life, although I don't know if I think that's illegal in Jersey, right?
having feelings, yeah.
Yeah. Very anti-Jersey. But if you did that more, I bet two things would happen. One, people would understand the depth of your truth, and two, you would attract more people into your life who can stand there with you in the dark and in the dismal and hold your hand. And that's important. That's important to be able to have. And as we move along, I'll share something with you because I'm very much about walking the talk, and I teach by example, and I tell teaching stories. And many years ago, I was pregnant with a child, and I gave birth at 5.5 months, and the baby lived 2 minutes. And I will tell you that I didn't mourn that loss at the time.
Yeah.
I did
You
not.
just shut down?
I was not that person. I was
Whoa.
a warrior, and I was also very screwed up. And I had a lot of work to do to be able to finally get to that piece when a friend of mine had exactly the same experience so many, like decades later. And she was like a daughter to me, and I walked with her through her experience, almost identical.
Yeah.
Except her baby lived a little bit longer than 2 minutes. That's when I went into mourning.
Yeah.
That's when I went into mourning.
I feel like as long as you hit the mourning stage, it doesn't really matter when. It's just important that you actually take the time to mourn, right?
Well, that's true, but sooner is better than later.
Right. No, otherwise it'll eat at you.
But there's not a lot of permission for a lot of people, and there's this odd idea that if we are, and I don't know who you are in your life, I know you have this show and you have a lot of followers, but I don't know who you are in your life, but if we're powerful women, which I am, we have misunderstood that along the way. It's taken me a long time to realize that vulnerability and power are not enemies.
Right.
They are actually dance partners. And so that when we stand in our powerful vulnerability, we actually radiate our highest and best feminine selves. And so it sounds like you have a little, we've made a little chink in the armor here for you. And that's one of the gifts of this for you. And that is one thing you can start to look at is what are my learnings out of this? What are the gifts that this moment gave me? My husband can't understand it. He just can't. It's 8 weeks. It wasn't real to him yet. He's not having the same physical response. I'm having hormonal responses.
I have to say that
having those.
Even when I had all 3 of my kids, like my husband didn't see that it was real until like he even held them. So it didn't even, after 9-10 months of me carrying them, he didn't even get it until they were actually here. So
how old are you guys? Approximately.
31.
Yeah, 30s.
30s.
Early 30s.
Yeah. So when women have their children a little later, even than that, into the late 30s, or if the men are older, they have a slightly different, a more of a appreciation, a deeper relationship to it. But no, because they don't. It's not their bodies in the same way.
Yeah.
Which is.
This topic, it's just so relevant now in general. You know what I mean?
It's like an umbrella.
I think in Georgia, if I miscarried, I'd be in jail right now.
Yeah.
So I'd be no friends in jail alone.
That's right. We're taking you away now. But no, seriously, and one of the things, I'm a big fan of writing it out, and so to really, if you sit down and you be with the page, and
that's great advice.
One of the things I did, which, again, better late than never, but, and even to the 8-week-old fetus, I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to the baby that would never be. And I'm telling you, it was really impactful.
Yeah.
It's real heavy. I'm so sorry. I can't, honestly, I can't. It's something that I can't grasp. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
It's hard. And then so I guess what's hard is for other people to who haven't experienced these things. Even I've never experienced what you dealt with. I mean,
I'm never going to understand Jess's. Jess's is never going to understand yours. You're not going to understand somebody else's.
It's
all
But you know what? The thing is, what connects us all?
Yeah.
What connects everyone on the planet are not our stories, but our feelings about our story. So your grief and my grief are not different. We're just at different, we're at different stages of our life. So we're facing everything in a different way.
Yeah.
But, and also these, dealing with feelings and being with people and their stories and their feelings that's my life's work. So that makes it a little bit, I have a sort of what I call a vertical view versus a horizontal view. But it's still, we are joined. We're joined in the fact that we're human beings in an experience of grief. Yeah. So even your friend who lost her, did you say brother or father? What was that?
Her
your
father.
Grandmother?
Yeah, my sister-in-law, my husband.
Yeah. That you don't know yet what that's like.
Right.
You don't know exactly but you can appreciate her grief through the heart.
Yeah, I mean, I was there through the whole thing. I have his heartbeat, the last breath he took. I tattooed it on my finger because that was the hand he held after when he took his last breath.
Oh.
So it was I was there for it, so I'm able to understand it a little more. But he wasn't my father, so it's still whenever they talk about it, my heart breaks for them because I'm I won't get that until that's me. But
right,
but I try to understand it. Yeah.
Listen, what you just said, your heart breaks. And,
yeah.
There's a word that's left off of that sentence. My heart breaks open. And that's what happens each time we enter grief, no matter what it's about. My heart breaks open. And it's the open part that where we all meet. We all meet in the entryway, right? We all meet in the open heart.
Mm-hmm.
We can meet in the heart if we can remember to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope you write that letter or do some writing and looking. Do you know what maybe you learned through this?
It's so funny because I told my husband this morning, I said, just so you know, just so you're prepared for later, I'm going to talk about the miscarriage on the show today. And he goes, well, you better tell people what you learned so that they learn something from this. And I go, what I learned? I didn't learn shit.
I learned a lot of horrible things.
And
I was like, of course I got.
Yeah, but that's because you're a little pissed off at him. You're a little mad because he doesn't get it. So he doesn't get to say that.
But you're right though. Every experience is a learning experience. You know what I mean? And I don't know what I learned. I don't know.
Well,
yes, you did. You learned that you're extremely strong, that you're still walking around and able to get through a day of losing a child, and you're still anxious to have another one down the road, that you didn't let fear overcome you is something that you learned.
Yeah. I learned I'm not that cold of a
Or
bitch.
Yeah.
how about the idea that you have more to teach today than you did 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Yes, that
You have more
I
to
can
invite
appreciate.
people to understand.
Yes, that I can appreciate.
You know.
Yes, for sure. That's a really great way
You
of
know,
looking at it.
This is really a sort of a benign way to say this, but I'm sitting here in my living room and I'm looking across the way at these beautiful roses my husband bought me recently for no reason whatsoever. Which
I love him.
I know, very well trained. And he
you.
said, anyway, he brought these roses. When he got the roses, of course, they were kind of closed, and as they are. And now they've opened, and they're just beautiful. They're sort of this wonderful pink and deep pink, and they're at this beautiful stage. And soon they're going to die. And the question is, have I enjoyed them in their time?
It's the reason that I tell everyone not to buy me flowers. It's so sad because I have such a hard time dealing with death of even a flower. Like, it's the saddest thing to watch. I've never been able to have flowers in my house to the point where they're dying because I can't watch that part. And it seems so stupid.
No, but I will say this: if you're afraid to deal with death, you need to start dealing with death.
Yeah, I am. I'm horrified of it.
Now, this is usually the rule is people who are terrified of death, and I don't know if you're terrified, but if the people who run from the conversation and can't deal with it are actually afraid of life. So it's usually the opposite of whatever that we're talking about is what we're really up to.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, it's funny, the life and death, because when I was having the DNC at in the hospital, I was in the maternity ward, and my good friend just happened to be there that morning. She gave birth to her son.
It's like the circle of life.
Yeah. It was one of the things that made me smile. It still makes me smile because I was losing something, but this amazing boy was coming into the world, and she's such a good mom and a good person, and I'm just it is a beautiful thing. It's just life.
Yeah, well, I was pregnant with Jaden when Jean was dying, and so that I knew that she was never going to meet him. So, I had him hold my stomach as he was going so that he could be with her at least a few.
Doc, I will say Tracy's done an incredible job of keeping her father-in-law's memory alive, and all three kids all Poppy, they talk about him. I mean, that's one thing she doesn't give herself enough credit for, because I know a lot of people, when somebody passes, they it's everyone likes to pretend, they don't want to talk about it, it's too hard to face, and she doesn't realize that she does a really good job of keeping his memory alive and making us remember that what a great man he was.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. You are really wonderful, I have to say.
I feel on a high right now after talking to you.
Me too.
Oh, that's so great. Well, I hope you do that. I hope you do that. I'm very grateful to whoever the listener was who suggested you reach out to me. And thank you, listener, whoever you are.
We're definitely going to have you back on the show because we've got many more issues to to go after.
We're going to use you for free as long as we can.
Well, I look forward to our next talk together.
Yes, guys, follow Dr. Nicki on Instagram.
DrNickIMonti. I'll sing it in Mickey Mouse voice. NICKIMONTI, Dr. Nick. I kind of feel like I'm on this extended high right now. Yeah. I'm floating on a cloud after. She has the most soothing voice. It was, and then it was very relatable voice. Yes. I don't know what it was. I felt like I was talking to a mom.
Me and you too. We're just da-da-da-da-da. Me and you just kind of were looking at each other.
We just sat there and listened. It was the first time I think we've actually listened to somebody else. Amazing.
I know. She's spot on though. She's wow. No, it was I felt very she was speaking to me there. That was wild.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get that.
I mean, what was she saying? Open, love, you're open to it.
Well, the roses really got me because she was you just have to appreciate while they're here what they have, and I'm that's what I don't appreciate. I'm always rushing everything because I'm on New York time, and I just constantly go, and I don't ever take time to just let things happen.
So, Denny and I both we decided to get the genetic testing of the baby, and it came back that it was something actually very common. It's called it was chromosomal. So there was an extra chromosome. I forgot. I think it's chromosome something 16. So it's different than, or was it 17 or 18? One of those. So my doctor literally was like, Jess, this is this is I told you that, you can't cause your own miscarriage. He goes, this is literally the definition of the body, like taking care of something that can just never be. Like this pregnancy was just not healthy.
Maybe it wouldn't have lasted anyway.
Yeah, that's what
it was
exactly
your
what
body
he
just
said.
knowing better.
Yes, that's exactly what he said. Is your body was taking care of this, and like it couldn't survive. So he said, listen, if you want to do some more testing, have you and your husband come in, we'll take blood work, whatever. So Daddy and I did further testing, and we both came back really good, because he said something about how like maybe our chromosomes like don't match each other, and that's what it could be like a thing. Because I said to him, I was like, listen, I'm gonna keep it real. I did not do well with this. I know nobody does.
Yeah.
But I was especially in a hole, and I said I can't go back there. Like it'll
What do
destroy
I have
me.
to do?
Yeah, because he
sure
said I'm going to be honest. Most women wait till their second or third miscarriage to do this testing, and I said I don't care if to pay for it. I want to do it. I want to know.
Yeah.
So he said okay. So it was really good. I felt really good, and he feels really good about the results. I'm going in for one more test. It's called an HSG. I'm actually going this week, and they pretty much like squirt. I have to go to the hospital to do it. They squirt like blue dye in you. And he said it's pretty much the last test that we can do to, cause I just want to know if this is going to happen again. I need to be mentally prepared for it.
For sure.
Like if I'm someone that it's going to happen, time and time again,
right.
I need to know. And like, there's also things you can do. If I am more likely to have a miscarriage, there's other ways we can try to get pregnant,
Right.
So, so far so good. I'm going to have the test on Wednesday, and he said it's literally the last thing we can do. He said once this test is over, he's like, I can pretty much guarantee that it was a fluke,
right,
and it won't happen again. And
if it does, it's the plan, and it'll happen when it happens, because of everything happens for when it's supposed to.
So I'm supposed to wait 2 cycles before we start trying again. So 2 periods. Each period I've had 2, they've sucked. And the good news is that most women who miscarry go on to become pregnant, and they have a healthy child. It's also hard to look that far ahead when you're in it, but it's the truth.
You shouldn't be tracking it. I feel like you should just let it happen. Like I feel like when you're tracking it with the when I'm ovulating and that whole thing, it just becomes overwhelming for your mind, and your body is all connected, and it stops the process of like naturally happening. Just let it happen. Have some fun. This is the whole process of it. Like
you're right.
Having fun and practicing is like the best part of getting pregnant. Is
you're spot on, and this time around, like we got pregnant so fast last time. I don't want to overthink it, because I do have mixed feelings about it. In one breath I'm like, of course I want to find that feeling again, and the other breath I'm terrified, I'm scared. I feel like I keep having this thought that like my first pregnancy ever was ruined from, you know what I mean? Because now can you imagine? I'm going to be a paranoid mess. I'm going to want fucking an ultrasound every week. Like, how
luckily
could you not?
They do. Here in America, we can get as many as we want. I know overseas in like Europe, a few people in the UK have been like, oh my God, we only have 1 ultrasound. And I'm like, oh my God, 1? How are you even like getting through that 9 months? I know I had 1 every 2 weeks, and
wow.
So
I'm gonna want that. I'm gonna be a crazy person. I know that. I know how I am. I'm gonna be waiting to feel every kick, seeing that heartbeat for the first time is going to be
it's going to be
scary.
Extra special. And then you know that this baby is going to take care and watch over the next baby that comes, and then this baby will just have guardian angel siblings.
And you want to know funny about rainbow babies? I'm a rainbow baby. My mom miscarried before me. I'm the first.
And you had somebody watching over you this whole time. You didn't even know.
Oh God, well, I'm sorry. Dr. Nicki got me all feeling all light, and I'm all sad again. But so hopefully we're gonna take it slow. And I will hopefully have that rainbow baby one day. I can't believe it's just the whole experience has been really a transformation of me, from being like terrified of it to like seeing it's not so scary. So yeah,
for sure. You're going to be a great mom. I'm not worried about you at all.
Thank you. I love you. And it's funny. Dr. Nicki said like, you have to smile. And it's something that I was very noticeable that I was not smiling. And like that was, like I said, every friend, every family member had a different role in this with me. And like your role, like you made me smile, you made me laugh, you made me like, you looked on the bright side of things. And that was nice, because I needed that.
Good. Okay, you never know like how to help a friend, but you have to just go with your instincts of however you normally were with them. Like, don't change how you were, and just kind of keep up that way.
Yeah. Yeah, my best advice is if you know someone that's going through this is just
check on them.
Check in on them. Don't, even if it's been a month, like go back or take them for coffee or just stop by their house, because you know what, I didn't want to fucking leave my house. Like,
or just force them to come out of their house like I did.
Yes, exactly. Bully them. I love you guys. I feel actually much better. This show.
This was Jess's therapy session.
Yeah, we always say that we're your therapist, but like it is therapy for us. And if you guys have had this experience and you want to message me and talk it through with me, let's do it. I'm so open to that. And one thing I will say, when I was going through it and I wasn't talking to anyone and I felt very alone, I was
she
with
was
you baddies.
messaging you guys. I would literally go on our Instagram page and every message, there was like 400 messages and they were all read. And I'm like, oh my God, Jessica is literally stalking our Instagram for like outreach right now.
It made me feel better to help other people with their problems.
Without addressing yours. Yeah. It's just a way to get your mind off your own self.
It did. It helped me. It helped me like feel normal again.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. And thanks for listening to this journey. And Alan,
Batty
Daddy, this is good stuff. I feel like you're going to be real in touch with your feelings.
Yeah, I feel like Alan's going to go take like a hot bubble bath and drink a glass of white wine after this. Yeah, we want to thank Dimly Wit. You guys, he's the one who's helping this all make sense to you when you're listening to it. Share. This is like probably the most important episode that we want you to have other people subscribe to, because anything with depression or internal feelings or loss of any kind needs to hear this. Especially you just got free therapy from celebrity therapists.
Like Dr. Nicki charges in LA.
She charges rent per hour. Okay, guys, like we just got free therapy. You need to have all your friends stop what they're doing, subscribe to this podcast right now so they can hear this episode. It's so important.
We love you guys. Thank you. Don't forget, guys, new clips air every Thursday. So see you next Thursday.
Hosted on dimlywit.com.
Even though we are not your best examples,
we're the best you've got.
So cheers, bitches.
Cheers. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for updates. And if you like this clip, share it with a friend.